You are shipping every week. You are fixing bug, you are adding features and doing everything right, but still your SaaS is stuck at the same level. I have seen this happen with multiple founders again and again. They are trying to ship the product fast, doing everything right, but they are not able, their product is not able to break through. So in this video, I want to talk about one key mistake that keeps them stuck at the same level. Let's dive deep. Before diving deep, I want to tell you that I have written some notes here and I will be referring to that note during this video. So let's dive deep into the mistake. A few months ago, I walked into the gym frustrated. For weeks, I have been there. Every day I was trying to lift heavy. I was trying to give my all to push myself to limits. But no matter how many sessions I did in the gym, my body does not change the way I wanted it to be. Almost no muscle growth was there. So because of that, I was frustrated. And one of the reasons for my frustration was that other guys around me, the other guy who started almost at my time, were pushing harder and they were gaining muscle, but I on the other hand was not able to gain a lot of muscle, which obviously I wanted to. So in my head at that point, standing there in the gym, realizing that I am not gaining muscle faster, in my head I knew the exact reason. I have built this belief that was forcing me to stay at the same level. Like the belief was, if I drink a lot of water in the gym while doing the exercise, I will get heavier and I will feel lazy to do the workout. So this was a belief that I had in my mind. So every day my mouth stays dry, my throat burns right at the edge of finishing the set. I quit. So this has become my habit. So I was able to push heavy during the first few repetitions, but on the last repetition or last two repetition, I needed to push more heavy. But because I was feeling very thirsty and I had a belief that since if I drink a lot of water, I will feel heavier, I used to not drink any water, and that is the reason I was not able to push a lot harder in the gym during the last few repetitions. This had become my behavior and habit. Sometimes I used to leave 1 rep short and sometimes 2 reps short, and I tell myself at that point, standing there in the gym, that maybe I am not able to build the muscle because I am not the right kind of person to build muscle. So on that day I moved, realizing all this, I still have to push because I was in the gym, I was there to exercise, so I thought let's do the exercise. So I went for the bench press. So it was a very hot day and my throat was completely dry, and halfway through the set I felt like my body is giving up. So since I was feeling like my body is giving up, there was no other option rather than drinking water. So I take one bottle which was lying in the gym, I fill it up with water and I start drinking. I drank a lot of water on that day. So obviously because I was drinking a lot of water, so my body was feeling heavier and I was not able to push that much. So I felt like my belief was true. But while right on that day, while I was doing the exercise, I saw one guy advising another guy that you don't have to drink a lot of water, you just have to sip the water, like to keep your throat away from drying. So your throat should not get dry and your mouth should not get dry. So that was the advice one of the guy was giving to another guy while I was at the gym. So I observed all this and then I started doing the same. I started sipping water rather than drinking water. So every now and then when my throat used to dry and my mouth used to get dried up, I used to sip water. So my mouth and my throat was not getting dried. So now when I started doing that, I was able to push a lot more, and all those repetition which I was leaving because my throat was dry, now when I was sipping water, I was able to complete it. And then after doing this for around a month or so, I started observing that my muscle growth has started. So that is the thing I wanted to tell you through this story. So on that day when I was re-racking the bar, I realized something deeper than muscle growth. Standing there at the gym only, I realized how a simple lie had holded me back. So because of that lie, I was not able to push in the gym. Now that feeling where you are pushing harder, you are doing everything right, and still being stuck at the same level destroys you. Every day when I was looking in the mirror and I was feeling like I was not gaining any muscle, I was getting destroyed. Now this same feeling arises in the founder also. When founders are doing all of the things right, like writing code daily, pushing the right kind of features, but still when their revenue and when their growth is not happening, they are also getting destroyed. Now I was getting destroyed because of that belief, one wrong belief, and founders get also destroyed because of a wrong belief they also had. And that belief is, when they get started with their product, they believe that I need to have all the answers, like this is who this product is for, this is what it is going to do, and this is how I am going to sell the product. At the start, even before the market validation, they try to have all the answers and this forces them to be stuck at one level. At the start, when you know the answers to these questions, you feel smart, like you know who you are going to focus on, but actually it's a trap. Early conversation with 3 to 5 people from the same domain can shape your entire worldview regarding your product. If those few people show interest, founders assume that this is their core audience. But early validation comes from people closest to you and your idea, not the best market for your product. It creates a lot of problem later on, because those people have a similar kind of mindset and they see your product through a similar kind of lens. And when these people comment about your product that your product should be X or Y, you feel like they are saying the right thing and you assume that they are your core audience, but actually they are not. They are never going to pay for your solution. So this early validation can also destroy your product. Now, because of the early validation, you can say that this product is for remote teams, this product is for marketers, and you have still not started to build the product, or you are building the product, but you are in your mind, you are trying to assume things on your own based on how you have talked to those 3 to 5 people. Now, when you have all the answers to these kind of question, you have a roadmap writing itself. You begin adding feature that those specific users ask for, even when it drifts away from your original idea. You think you are building one kind of product, but slowly you are building a different kind of product. At the start, you wanted to build a product in a certain way with certain kind of feature, but since you have talked to those people, you are trying to fit your product in their reality. So, and months later, when your growth stalls, when these few early people joins, and you realize that there is no market for your product moving forward and your growth had stalled, you realize that you need to reposition your product. Now at that point all the problems get started. So after around year or 2 years, you will realize that you were not stuck because you were not working harder. You were stuck because you had a belief that quietly decided your limits. That's what I felt in the gym that day. So it was not like I was not putting any kind of effort. I was putting all the effort, but this belief that water belief was holding me back. And similarly, that this belief that you need to answer all the questions at the start to get started with your product, like this is who it is going to be for, rather than depending on the market for the validation, you are trying to come up with your own ideas. So let's see this with an example. Suppose I built a product called as Clipper, a simple tool that let users record short videos. Now in the beginning, I talked to my friends, and all those friends are working for big corporation. They are already an employees of some kind of companies. They told me that it would be a perfect for remote team to replace stand-up meetings. But based on their feedback, you decided that the positioning of your product will be for the remote teams. Now at that point you felt like you have did the right thing. You have not validated the market, you have not dependent on the market to validate your product, or you have not waited for anything from the market. You have just been dependent on those people, those 3 to 5 people you have talked. Now think about the situation you are into. You are into the team collaboration category. In one way or another, you are in the team collaboration category, and that category is already dominated by big players like Loom, Slack, Asana. To compete with those kind of companies, you need a very big budget and you need big money to compete with them. So since you have started in that niche, so you will now need to add features like team management, integration, admin, dashboards, enterprise pricing. And at the start you never wanted to do that, but because of that feedback from those kind of people, you have turned the product and the positioning has been a totally different rather than what you have assumed at the beginning. So your products become heavier and it becomes laggy also, and you have to develop a lot of things just to sell to the team managers, since it is for the remote employees. Now if at the start you assume things differently, a little differently, you would have thought about a different kind of positioning. That same product can be positioned as sales rep to send personalized video emails to prospects. That same product can be for the community managers who want to engage their audience, and that same product can be for teachers to record bite-sized feedback for their students. So the same product can be positioned in different way. The product didn't need to change. What need to change is the frame around it, and your revenue could go from $0 to millions of dollars. So that is why it is very important to never have this belief that you need to have all the answers at the beginning. You have to be dependent on the market to validate your product, and then only you have to add features, and based on that